This past week has seen significant events related to COVID-19 or the coronavirus, and many of you have reached out to me, especially my constituents, concerned for your health and that of your family, your jobs, childcare, schooling, your finances, travel bans, and more. I have heard from many of my constituents directly, so here's an update on the current situation, which is rapidly evolving as of Friday, March 13th at about 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. First of all, for all of my constituents, I've posted a page on my website that has links to all relevant services and information bulletins within the City of Calgary, the Government of Alberta, and the Government of Canada. It answers many of the frequently asked questions that you've been asking and can be found at the link in the description of this video. The best resource for people asking questions is your local health authority for updates about how to keep you and your community safe. That said, don't hesitate to contact me or check my website at mprempel.ca. I will be bringing regular updates to you as the situation evolves. So with that, here's your update for this afternoon. I'll start by answering the questions that I've received. So first of all, how serious is COVID-19? COVID-19 is infectious and has had significant impacts on the health systems of hotspot countries, including China, South Korea, and most recently, Italy. While according to health officials here in Canada, as of this afternoon, the risk to Canadians remains low, current public health efforts are attempting to prevent the rapid spread of the disease so that our health system is not unduly challenged and that the most vulnerable are not exposed to the disease. It is up to every Canadian to take this effort very seriously and assist in these efforts. I know you will, and I thank you for it. Is it okay to attend large public gatherings? In Alberta, health officials have issued the following advice, and again, this is as of March 13th at 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Following mass gatherings should be cancelled. Events with more than 50 attendees that involve international participants, critical infrastructure staff, seniors, or other high-risk populations. Large events with more than 250 attendees should also be cancelled, including sporting events, conferences, and community events. This does not include places of worship, grocery stores, airports, or shopping centers. Events that do not meet this criteria can proceed, but risk mitigation measures must be in place, such as providing sanitizer stations and distancing between attendees. Folks, use judgment. Avoid handshakes, hugs, and kisses. Wash your hands for 20 seconds with soap and water frequently throughout the day and disinfect high-touch areas. Should I be social distancing or working from home? If I have to stay home from work, will I get EI payments? I've been laid off my job and I don't have sick leave benefits. How will I be able to pay for my bills? Several countries around the world have seen the disease rapidly spread. This is why many health officials around the world are advising the public to engage in social distancing activities to prevent the spread of COVID-19. And here in Canada, we're being asked to avoid all international travel. You should talk to your employer about their plan for this rapidly evolving situation. And I very much realize, that not everyone can work from home and that many will be rightly concerned about loss of income. We all have a collective responsibility to do our part to ensure this pandemic does not overwhelm our health system and unduly affect those at most risk from serious complications. But the issue of job loss and income loss is serious. I've heard from many people in my community who are already in dire straits because of the energy sector downturn. And I've heard from many people who are employed in the gig economy or the service industry who have seen their income dry up. We're putting pressure on the government to help Canadians in these situations, and you can rest assured that we are all working hard to address these very valid and very real concerns. So today, the government announced that they will be putting forward a stimulus package next week that would have direct measures to support individuals and families and ensure that businesses stay afloat. The government has also signaled that they will make changes to the employment insurance program to address this issue and have signaled that they will be making further announcements next week regarding stimulus. I will be bringing you regular updates in this regard. We are all taking this very seriously across party lines and will not let Canada be adversely affected by this situation. Should I be sending my kids to school, going to university, or letting children attend daycare? As of 2 p.m. on Friday, March the 13th, in my community in Calgary, based on the most recent advice of Alberta public health officials, schools, daycares, and post-secondary institutions will remain open at this time. But steps should be taken to ensure that no more than 250 people are in any same room at any given time. However, this situation could rapidly change, and you should stay connected with the Alberta health officials as they pronounce updates on this issue. Other provinces in Canada have temporarily closed schools and universities. I understand that this creates issues for Canadians related to childcare, and we are monitoring this situation closely and pressing the federal government to address these concerns. We expect a response early next week. I have a small business, or I'm self-employed and I don't have EI. What's going to happen to me? Conservatives are calling on the government to ensure that the federal government enacts tax cuts for workers and entrepreneurs, a 2-for-1 rule to eliminate red tape so that businesses can continue to prosper and thrive in Canada, and an end to the wasteful spending that we've seen over the last 4 years, given that we are in a serious economic situation at present time. Today, the government announced that they will be putting forward a stimulus package next week that would have direct measures to support individuals and families. A further interest rate cut has been announced by the Bank of Canada today, and they also announced additional releases for small businesses. The government also made announcements, or the Bank of Canada also made announcements to ensure that banks have sufficient liquidity. The government also announced that they are establishing a credit facility program, $10 billion in support for Canadian business through the Business Development Bank of Canada. We are reviewing these announcements. They were just made this afternoon. My colleague Pierre Poilievre, our finance critic, will be making statements on this afternoon as well. What I want to leave you with is that we are working hard, both within our party and across party lines, to address this situation. And I know that Canada will come on top. We're going to be okay. Should I cancel my travel plans because of COVID-19? Both provincial and federal health officials have issued advice to all Canadians to avoid or cancel all international travel. Many airlines have waived change fees. In short, to prevent the spread of COVID-19, health officials are asking you to not travel internationally at this time. Health officials are also requesting Canadians who are arriving back from international travel to self-isolate for 14 days. More information and links to this information can be found on my website. The cruise ship season was also suspended this afternoon, with vessels carrying over 500 people banned from making port before the end of the summer. Public health officials in Canada have also advised against any cruise ship travel. Folks, if you don't have to travel, don't do it until public health officials say otherwise. This is serious. Take their advice seriously. Either me or my family member is outside of Canada and is affected by travel bans in other countries. What should we do? Is the Canadian border going to close? As of speaking, and again, this is about 2 o'clock on Mountain Time on Friday afternoon on March the 13th, the border has not been closed, and Canadian top officials and the Prime Minister have recently stated the following. Anyone arriving back from international travel should self-isolate for 14 days. All international travel should be avoided. International travels will be streamlined to a select few airports. We don't have the details on this yet in order to better screen travelers. The Prime Minister has stated that he may undertake further restrictions in the near future based on the advice of health officials. Conservatives have been pressing the government to enhance screening measures and to order mandatory quarantine for those coming in from World Health Organization classified high-risk areas and stopping all flights to and from these areas. Again, based on the advice of health officials, you should not be traveling internationally. If you are abroad right now, you should self-isolate upon your return to Canada. Canadians traveling outside of Canada in need of emergency consular assistance can contact Global Affairs Canada 24/7 Emergency Watch and Response Center in Ottawa at 613-996-885 or email sos@international.gc.ca. What should I do if I think I have symptoms or have been in contact with someone who has COVID-19? Resources to find local information on this issue, including testing, can be found on my website for my constituents here in Alberta. In Calgary, health officials are encouraging you to access Alberta HealthLink by dialing 811, and those watching from other jurisdictions across the country, contact your provincial health authorities. How do I prevent and prepare for COVID-19? There are many, many resources available via provincial and federal government health agencies to assist you in this. You can access a roundup of these links on my website. What is going on with the House of Commons closure? So today, As a preventative measure related to COVID-19, the House of Commons has decided to suspend Parliament until April 20th, 2020. It will close visitor access to the House of Commons precinct and cancel public tours. It will suspend committee travel, and it will cancel all parliamentary functions and events in the House of Commons precinct. This is because the nature of work that parliamentarians conduct makes us, the press gallery, staff, and lobbyists, vectors for viral spread. The reality is that every day we meet in close quarters with people from around the country, get on a plane usually twice a week, and we're back out in our communities. This poses significant issues in the middle of a major public health effort when public health authorities are suggesting removing yourself from social situations and to prevent the escalation of a pandemic. Even though Parliament is suspended, we have tools to push for answers. And we are going to be working very hard. I guarantee you this has been something I've been doing all day the last week. But we are going to push for answers, and we are going to hold the government to account. I'll be coming to you regularly to update you on the situation and what we're pushing for. And I have, as does every member of Parliament, the ability to advocate to ministers no matter where we are. Our shadow ministers are fully involved in this situation, and we will be advocating to the government and pushing for answers to Canadians' questions. It was also announced today that the Auditor General will provide oversight and report back to Canadians over any spending during the time that Parliament is suspended. This will provide accountability to all Canadians about how the government is responding to the crisis. And of course, this review is something that all parliamentarians, including myself, will be monitoring closely. As the Shadow Minister for Industry and Economic Development, I remain actively seized with ensuring the supply chain is maintained in our country and threats to our economy are minimized. Folks, I know this is a trying situation, but I believe in the strength of our country, and I believe in each and every one of you. Support one another. Take this seriously. Take it seriously. And do your part per the advice that I've outlined in this video. But also know and rest assured that all of us are working hard on your behalf to make sure that we weather the storm, within my own party and across party lines. Canada is in a good spot. We are going to get through this together. Working hard for you. Have a great day.